This episode of the Boss Rush Podcast is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to support the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. Thanks for your continued support.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me, in person, is PK Power Pat Klein.
Hello, I am here in body, but not in mind.
Yes. How are you, Pat?
I'm good. It's been a very eventful few days.
Yes, that happens at events. It's very eventful.
Yes.
Also joining us is the mad pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
I am also here in body, but my soul lies with Penstar.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
Wishing the body was there too.
Wish it was the reverse.
How's your weekend going, Stephanie?
Exhausting, but none of that matters because I'm having the time of my life. Primarily just because I'm here with you guys, and all the games and the demos and interviews are just a bonus.
Yeah, I agree. Also here is that retro code, Eddie V.
Hello, everybody. I am in the building with the Boss Rush crew, and I'm so happy to be here.
Eddie, this is too much energy for this time of night.
His soul has been cleansed.
Oh, that's going to come great through the audio. Yeah, so very clearly, if you're watching the video, we are all together. For me, the first time, and this has been it's been a wonderful week being with you guys, and this is our last night together. But we figured we should probably record something little with each other, and so.
But just not in that way.
Yeah.
We want to keep it at least. Try to PG, but it's probably gonna be R-rated.
That's for After Dark.
There's a jacuzzi tub
No,
upstairs.
that's the other extra.
That's the video we can only post on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
LaRon, no, I'm just kidding. So we're at PAX East. We saw a lot of things. Met a lot of people. We connected with a lot of creators and developers. So I figure in this opening segment, what we'll do is talk about our favorite things we saw, and then we did a bunch of interviews on site with various people that you will be hearing after our opening segment. And then also after this episode is the Toge spotlight, so it kind of flows right into very, very nice, what do you call it?
In
Flow.
theme.
Yes, Thank you. Man, I'm tired. I don't know if you knew that or not.
You know what? I think it's the alcohol.
No. No. Stephanie's fault. She made me.
She did make you drink.
She did.
Not true.
She's like,
She literally
"You need to
ordered
get
for
this
me."
one.
You said you want to drink, but you didn't know what to pick. I just picked the...
And you enabled him.
And the alcohol is coming out here.
She's an enabler. All right. So, Ed, I'm going to start with you. What's one thing that you really enjoyed?
I definitely enjoy, and I've been talking about this game all week long, is Pipistrello and the Curse Yo-Yo. It is from, goodness, I forgot their name already. I'm sorry about that, everybody. It's from a Brazil developer, and it's a 16-bit retro game that plays like Zelda. It's very Zelda inspired, and you use this yo-yo for attacks. And there's just crazy things that's going on. It looks like a Game Boy Advance game. And what they also included in this is that they have a screen that you can make it look like the Game Boy Advance. Pocket Trap is the developer.
Yep, Pocket Trap, publisher PM Studio.
Yes, yeah. Pocket Trap Advance is what the Game Boy Advance looks like. And I had so much fun. Even before the crowd was able to come in and play the game and look at it, I was just walking around and I seen this beautiful drawing, and it was the first game that I played. Second game that I played, because I played a game called Lucid at Apogee. I sat down and I played it and got to talk to Enrique, who is one of the developers making the game. And I told him right then and there, this is my game of the show. I told him if you eventually was just selling the demo, I would pay you money just to get it, because it was so good. They're on the right track, and he was just like, throughout the show, he talked to a lot of people who just got great feedback. So that's one, and they just announced it. They just went live with their trailer announcing it. So, Pipistrella and the Curse Yo-Yo is a game definitely to be looking out for. They're trying to hit Switch and other platforms, but right now they're working on the PC version of it.
Nice. All right, so I guess we're just going to go round robin. Stephanie, what was one thing that you really enjoyed? Doesn't have to be a game, but it very well could be.
Can I do one game and one non-game, and I'm brief with both?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the first, and it's hard to pick because there have been, I have a top three for games, but the top one I think ultimately, after all said and done, was my experience with playing Animal Well. I used Media Hour to play that game and speak with Billy Basso, really amazing game dev that I really look up to and admire all his attention to detail. And playing it was just everything I expected it to be. Lots of detail, lots of mysteries to be solved. I'm very excited for it to come out in May. So Animal Well, for sure. And then the best non-game demo moment was our chat with Dave Jackson from Tales from the Backlog. That was really fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that conversation.
Thank you for carrying that conversation, by the way.
No, it's all right. I told him, and I wasn't making it up. I was binge listening to his podcast like for the last few months, so I was up to speed with his content.
Yeah, he was really cool. He actually only lives like 2 hours from me. I found out, so super cool. It was crazy because like I asked him where he was from. Because I saw him in the hallway and he was sitting down, and I shook his hand and introduced myself, whatever. We walked into the media room side by side, so I didn't see his sweatshirt. And then when I was hooking everything up, I was like, so where are you from? And then I look up and his sweatshirt says Ohio in really large text.
Well, maybe he just bought it on a visit to Ohio.
Nobody buys Ohio shirts. It's not a tourist destination by any stretch.
Depends on the budget.
Ed, it is not a tourist destination. I am not a tourist attraction.
That's why I just realized, well, that is true.
Yeah. But yeah, he was really cool. Good pick, Stephanie.
Thanks.
Yeah. Pat, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go before you?
I mean, I thought we were round robbing.
We are,
Yeah.
but
Okay,
I wanted to give everybody else a chance to.
Okay. So, man, this trip has been pretty memorable in a lot of fronts. We're just gonna go out and say, though, one of the best moments actually didn't happen on the PAX floor. It happened at a Starbucks while we were waiting for food and drinks because we're tired. And first we were going to go to the local Dunks, which is a Boston specialty.
Delicacy, to be sure.
Yep, where they sell artisan donuts and coffee. The Boston tradition. Unfortunately, everyone decided they wanted to go for the local Boston treat, and so we decided to take the more exotic flair of Starbucks from the other side of the country. So, while that was also crowded, at least we were indoors and not freezing our asses off, and we were waiting for our foods, and then I'm hearing Steph be like, Pat, and then she's like pointing in a direction, and I see who she's pointing at, and it's Ben Starr, the most beautiful Londoner, or most beautiful New England. No, I don't know where he's actually from, to be perfectly honest.
I read it, but I forgot.
He's from England.
He's from England. I think he said Birmingham, England. I don't know.
But he's one of the most beautiful England people I've ever met. English people. And I had to go and say hi to him.
Yeah.
Well, the whole boss rush.
The whole boss rush crew, we just slowly approached him like a pack of starved wolves.
Yeah.
I could see the stress in Stephanie's eye. Like, I
she
need
was-
to do it, but I can't move. So I'm the one who, decided to make the first move and walk up to Ben Starr. He was with the conversation, and so, we were being courteous and not, like, immediately jumping into the conversation and being like, oh my God, it's Ben Starr! We didn't do that, luckily. But inside, we really wanted to. But he finished his conversation, and I, said, excuse me, Ben Starr. He turned around, and I'm like, I'm a huge fan of your work. I shook his hand. I offered to buy him his coffee, which, like a gentleman, he declined. Granted, he probably made more money than me, and so he took pity and bought his own drink. But while we were waiting for our food and drinks, well, actually, the Starbucks person was waiting for me to go and grab my food from them because, I've been talking to Ben Starr, and they're like, Patrick! So, anyways, we were talking to Ben. We introduced who we are, that we're a podcast group, and we immediately told him that he won both Best Voice Talent for the Bossies and Best Husbando, which he was flattered. And then we kind of got
polite.
Yeah.
And we
Then he kind of changed the conversation over to what's good and going on right now in PAX, and we all kind of gave answer of something that we liked and that he should maybe go check out. And he explained about one of the ones he saw in a prior PAX. I think it was PAX West though. A game that he really liked. And so we all managed to get a picture once we all got our foods, and it was a good picture. Steph got to be in the nook of his arm.
he cradled me ever so gently.
I want to say
so tenderly.
I've never seen Pat and Stephanie so happy in my entire life.
The definition of swoon.
Yeah.
Yep. He could have had his way with us, and we would have been
Okay with it.
yes.
Ready and willing.
All four of us.
We did give him our business cards, though. When he
Yep.
was
And so
gracious.
hopefully, he'll listen to us. Maybe not necessarily this episode in particular.
No, this is the one he listens to, and then he never contacts us again. You go to say, oh, I haven't seen a tweet from Ben Starr. Blocked.
But hopefully, maybe in the future, Ben Starr, we'd love to work with you. And
Please, you beautiful, beautiful idiot, you.
Jeez.
his words, honestly.
Not mine. Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights of my PAX was meeting Ben Starr at a Starbucks.
Yeah, Ben Starbucks. Yeah, I have to say that, in all seriousness, though, he was a real genuine person, and it feels nice when people that, he's got to know he's one of the most famous people in voice acting right now, right? So, it's really nice to see someone like that just kind of be at our level in terms of conversation and just being a normal human, and that was really nice, nice to see. So we saw a lot of that this week, actually.
Yeah, we did.
Because that's also my favorite thing, meeting people specifically. So the highlight, besides being here with all of you, because that's the number one highlight. So I met a lot of podcasts that I've looked up to over the years, existing and former podcasts. And the first day on the floor, I was going to go see that Simon Quest Castlevania ripoff game, which is fun, by the way. I finally played it today after missing it 3 times. I rounded the corner to go play it because I was really looking for it, and then I saw the people selling the merch. I was like, hey, where's the game that you're selling the merch for? Like, oh, it's right around the corner. I'm like, oh, hey, thanks, guy. And I turn the corner, I just see this group of yellow shirts, and I'm like, oh my God, it's the Iron Lords. I'm like, oh my God. And like they were sitting there talking, and like it sounded like they were like prepping for their day. I was like, I want to say hi, but like I don't want to interrupt their like team, go team moment. It looked like they were doing, and like I'm like just standing there looking at the machine like an idiot, and Lord Cognito, they're like, he's listed as their CEO now. Like he's probably the most recognizable person out of that group. Although everybody is great, Lemon and everybody is great. He recognized the Boss Rush logo on my shirt, which first of all, amazing.
Yes.
Second of all, he dapped me up like I was one of his bros, which made me feel like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna die, in a good way. And then I got to talk to them for like 10 minutes, and they took our cards, and he's like, yeah, email me, we'll schedule something, like, but we got to schedule something like a month or so in advance because they're very clearly popular and busy. But meeting the Iron Lords on the first day was like, and them recognizing us, as a team, right? Like really, that was the first sign that I was like, okay, we've built a brand that people recognize.
And then just being in the media room with them, like,
yeah,
throughout.
yeah. And like we're just sitting there working, and they come in with their lunches, like at the next table over. I'm like, why are we in the same room? But that was like the first kind of case of, I felt legitimate as a team, like we made it, And then the other two groups that I met, so Pat and I met Major Nelson today, former Xbox Live's Major Nelson, now Midwest Games Major Nelson, and he was so nice. We talked about, I had met him once before at PAX as a fan, not as the media, and I knew he wasn't going to remember, but we played State of Decay 2 together because that was the game Xbox was pushing at the time, and yeah, we just Pat and I just talked to him for like 10 minutes as like a genuine human being, and took pictures, and he took our business cards too, and that was really cool. So Major Nelson, that's a checklist, bucket list item for me too. But the last one was like, oh man, you guys were melting over Ben Starr. This next one for me. Pat and I are going to get lunch, and we're going down the escalator. And the former Giant Beast cast was doing a panel. It was like the 5-year reunion of them of the Giant Bomb East closing. Was this panel, and it was called Never a Better Beast Cast, and which was a really great panel. I went and watched it, by the way. I was like, Pat, those are the Giant Bomb guys. He's like, well, go say hi to him. Like I'm just gonna willy-nilly walk up to him and be like, hey, hi. And so I was like, I don't know, they're probably getting ready for their panel or whatever. And Pat's like, go say hi, like an angry dad. I'm like, okay.
It's like, listen, you're gonna miss this. If you miss this opportunity, you're gonna freaking regret it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You need to go see them.
So, look, when Pat starts like running down the escalator to get up to the other side, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is serious. And so we go down the escalator and we follow them up, and we like start walking, and then I like start fast-paced walking. And then I lightly jog, and then I just like take off and left Pat behind me.
It's true. He ran, like, I'm like, does he know where he's going? He must have found him.
Yeah.
There he goes.
Yeah. And I caught up with them, and I just said, hey, excuse me, they are the reason why I started podcasting. Like, I love Giant Bomb so much. Well, like the old Giant Bomb, and they're so influential in everything that you see today. Live streams, let's plays, podcasts. They are the founding fathers of all of this, right? Jeff Gerstmann and Ryan Davis, and then they brought in Vinny, which was there, and Brad, who wasn't there because he's on the West Coast. But all these guys have been watching them for like almost 20 years now, and they're the reason why I am into video game coverage and, seeing watching gameplay of games. And, they make silly, one of my favorite things that they've ever done is, it's called Mario Party. And like one of their hosts takes the concept of Mario Party and brings 3 other hosts in that absolutely hate Mario Party and makes them play 50 turn rounds of like, and they went through Mario Party 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think they got all the way up to Super Mario Party. And so I just introduced myself. It was Vinny Caravella, Jeff Baccalar, and Abby Russell. And they could not have been nicer people. And like, if you're just walking down, like my favorite thing about them is they're just so unassuming looking. They were just so genuine and so nice. And like, when I went to the panel, I submitted a question, and they were passing out postcards and asked if you could, if you want to write a question, take this postcard. We're only answering the things on these postcards, which the postcard thing is like an inside joke for their podcast. And so I took one, and Vinny handed me, he's like, "Hey, glad to see you made it." And it was like, that was like a cool moment that he remembered. I mean, it was only a couple hours later, but he still remembered who, that we met. And then like, he read my question during the panel, and I was the only person that he asked if I was in the audience and pointed at me. And it was like, it felt really good.
Damn.
Yeah. It was like,
Surreal.
I don't understand how this happened to me, but I was very grateful, and they were awesome. And so, and they took mine and Pat's business cards too. So it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that this moment didn't make your list when someone told us that the people in the Boss Rush podcast were very good-looking people.
Because I don't believe them. Because I was alone. So first of all, second of all, I don't know. So they're lying. But yeah, anybody want to talk about anything else that we saw at PAX? Like
I do. I emphasize that for me, PAX was all about the people and not necessarily about the video games that I tried.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly built a lot of good friendships with people that I've only talked and seen online. Most of it being the Boss Rush crew here. I've seen about half of these people for the first time. The other half I've seen at least 3 times. Mm-hmm. And but it's also the various friends that I've made on Twitter, X, that I got to meet for the first time. People who just enjoy video games that were coming to PAX, I got to see and say hi. I got to see developers that I grew fond of the first time I came to PAX, and then, got to built that Twitter relationship, and then finally got to see them again. And even some new ones where just recently I met them on Twitter and just got to see them for the first time.
yeah.
Today, I even got to help matchmake two of these people that I've met to meet each other, and it was probably one of my happiest experiences, just knowing that more people like Steph, I, and Corey have met what they can essentially consider their hero.
Mm-hmm.
One of the social media manager from Toge Productions, her name's Lala. She was unfortunately not around when her idol Kimchika, Jenny from Wholesome Games and Kepler Interactive, came by and visited Toge's booth. Jenny was very excited to visit the Toge booth because she absolutely loves their games, especially A Space for the Unbound. When Lala found out that she visited and Lala wasn't there, she was kind of devastated. And I remembered that, hey, I'm actually going to be interviewing Kimchika tomorrow. Why don't you come up and, I'll introduce you to her. You can say hi and let her know, hey, I appreciate all your work. And, Lala's agreed to do that. And So the time came. Fortunately, there was a little screw up on the time. So Lala decided to wait around for a little bit, and we talked about like Toga games, and it was a good conversation about one that I just actually played today called Krieg's Front. But then Jenny came in. She came in all happy, like she peered through the door and started waving. And not only did she recognize me, Jenny also recognized Lala, which surprised the heck out of Lala because they never actually met. And she's like, Lala's like, oh, I've been really wanting to meet you. This is so excited. And Jenny was like, you want to meet me? I really want to meet you. And it was like a lot of back and forth of like disbelief. Like, no, I couldn't be that important to you that this, would mean a whole lot. And it seriously was just seeing two people just excited to meet each other for the first time, that like they were both shaking, like really trying to hold back their tears. It's like, do we go for the handshake? Do we go for the hug? Like, what's the culture? It's funny because you saw their arms. Like, Jenny was like reaching out, and Lala's kind of reaching out, but doesn't know like for the handshake or the hug. And I think they settled for the handshake. But it's just awesome to see the conversation, to see Lala telling Jenny that Jenny is one of the reasons that Lala's in the business is because of watching videos of wholesome games that Jenny does. And Jenny's like, I absolutely love like your business and just the energy of your marketing, which happens to be Lala's, job. And so it was just really cool seeing that acknowledgement and just the joy. So
Good job, Pat.
thank you.
Yeah.
We're very proud of you.
Thank you. I'm now the matchmaker of the team.
You are.
For me, is talking to the project manager, Andrea Alvarez from Joystick Ventures. She was super fun, super lovely, and she was so joyous and happy, passing out capes and everything, and she really connected with me on all the games that they had at the show, with Chicken Police, Star Vendors, Big Boy Boxing. She was just so down to earth, and she just kept wanting to connect with other people and just having that fun. And I literally told her, out of all the booths, I know I visit you guys, visit them the most and talk to her the most. I was just like, it's going to be our year for 2024, because what you have right here are top-notch products for everybody. And it gave me the excitement to go out more on the floor and talk to a lot of project managers, community managers, the PR people, even the devs who were super nervous, were having fun with me. And it really was because, getting that experience from Andrea, just going up and talking to them, that I was able to do that. I'm just so happy to talk to her, and hopefully we could work with them in the future. But yeah, because of her, I was able to talk to all the people about this whole trip. Just with the excitement and everything.
Yeah. Stephanie, anything else?
Yeah, so kind of the other two that were highlights for me was, and I had to pull it up just to make sure I got it right, demoing Fretless. The dev team is called Ritual Studios, and the publisher is Playdigious. 6-1 Indie recognized them in their game. Fretless is a quote-unquote music RPG. So it's a turn-based RPG with your old school pixel Zelda art style, but instead of upgrading armors and weapons, you upgrade your musical instruments and tools and such. And because it is a game surrounding music, you got a lot of great quality sound in there, just very joyous, and a really unique premise. And I feel like the experiences that stand out most is when there's a great demo but also a great conversation with the dev team, and that entire dev team is awesome. I love you guys. They just had such a great attitude. They were willing to talk to me, very enthusiastic and passionate about their project. And that also led to Fallen Aces that I saw this morning. Fallen Aces will be put out by New Blood Interactive. That booth was hopping. Every day they had massive lines. Pat and I went right as soon as they opened the doors, and we were like 6-7 people deep, and we still waited for like 40 minutes. But by the time we got there, I enjoyed playing the demo. Then I passed the controller to Pat so I can talk to some of the dev team or just the people at New Blood. And they were cool people. I got to learn about the updates they made since they shown off a trailer back in 2021, how they grew. They put a lot of hard work into the art style, which is 2D comic book style, but you're navigating a 3D environment. And lastly, I got to speak with someone from New Blood Interactive about the indie developer perspective of trying to get on platforms such as the Switch, Steam. We got into an interesting conversation about how Steam technically is easier because you're uploading to a PC platform, but with the dawn of the Steam Deck, they have to kind of not pay a little bit more attention, but like they need to meet certain criteria to fit for the formatting of the Steam Deck. So I would love to actually have a conversation about that at a future Boss Rush podcast topic.
Yeah, you know who would be great to talk about that with, honestly, would be Noah from Steam Deck HQ.
Yeah.
So
he
maybe
was getting a lot of love too. He
Yeah.
was, like very popular.
yeah, he posted that he loved New Blood Interactive's Fallen Aces. So, but he also talked a little bit about like working with Nintendo, and it was really cool. But I'll leave it at that. So, just those were another standout games. And also just want to throw out there, we had some two really nice dinners with the team and even Grayson. That was a ton of fun.
Grayson Morales, effortlessly cool. The
Really-
middleman.
Really super chill, awesome guy.
Yeah. No wonder why everybody likes him. He's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the last couple things I want to shout out are the Midwest Games booth. Lullaby of Life and Rah Rah Boom are two games that I went back multiple times to play because they were so good.
Rah rah boom.
Yeah, and
Stickers.
Chris, I saw Chris Bergman, the studio head at Guiley Games, which Rah Rah Boom's developer, roaming the floor, and we took a picture together, and you know, we talked for a minute. Like he's so chill and so cool. You know, the whole team working the booth was just the nicest people. Very helpful, very informative on the games. Like, you know, sometimes you get these PR people that they outsource. Not that they're doing anything wrong, but they're not like they might have to go ask a question or two about the game's development or you know, something that's just not in their wheelhouse. And so I really liked Midwest Games people because they had like a tester, a developer, an artist, and they all had different things to say about the games that were shown, and it was really appreciative. The other couple games that I want to shout out are Altered Alma, which was like this cyberpunk Metroidvania. That was super cool. I saw at the ROG booth from Critical Reflex, and two awesome games. And then we saw Robots at Midnight today.
Yeah.
And you know, David Posner, who's the CEO of Finish Line Games, super nice. That game was really it's like a Breath of the Wild kind of crafting game with Souls-like combat. It's definitely not as hard as a Souls game. It's not a Souls-like. It's just the combat is inspired by Souls games. And so I played for a little bit and fought a boss. Ed played for a little bit and fought a boss. And we kind of asked him a ton of questions. He was so nice.
Yeah.
And Ed, I think you have his business card, and we want to get him on something because they were awesome. I love seeing these developers excited about their games, especially when we're excited to play their games.
Yes.
And then I was watching you play and like moving through the world and like pointing certain things out, and I was asking him questions, and I could just see his face get brighter and like more excited because he's like, I mean, they work hard, you know. And he was telling us this is a 15-month build, and you know, I know he was kind of directing us so the game wouldn't break, right? Because these are vertical slices of games or chunks of games that aren't finished, a lot of them. And, you know, I had a demo crash on me and people were super apologetic. We were at Apogee and Questmaster froze a few times, and because it's still an early build of the game that's not even in early access yet on Steam. And like, I mean, we've all been around long enough to know that. And
It happens, you know. It's not a it's not a big deal.
It happened to me on Rob Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, no, take your time.
I'm sure they're apologetic because, unfortunately, even though we're cool and understanding, I think there's still people out there that will judge a game and be like, "Oh, this shit's broken. Like, why even bring it here?"
Yeah.
They don't get it.
Also, speaking of Apogee, we met the infamous Caroline from Stride PR. I know we've all gotten those emails from Caroline. Got you.
Yep.
Got you. No, she was really nice though. She was really sweet, and everybody was really helpful. And this was like better than I could have even like imagined times 10. This whole experience. So to wrap things up, I just want to say I really enjoyed being with you guys. It's been a long time coming. You guys are like my brothers and sisters, and this is really special. So,
Good Mr. Quiet.
no, I'm not. Nope.
So before we go, Corey, I would like to say that the indie representation was really good this year.
Strong showing, absolutely.
And for a lot of the developers, they really want to be on Nintendo. They really want to get on for Nintendo Direct and Indie Direct. And I asked them
That helps them.
Right. I asked them how do they feel with the, hopefully they could get one. Even for the guys in Poland. And shout out to the Poland developers.
Yeah.
They got some amazing games.
Yeah.
And they were just like, everybody who came to them and gave them feedback just made them so happy. I was just like, there's stuff we're going to be looking forward to.
Yeah. Mary Helen interviewed and played the game from Ashnar Publishing. What was it called? Corridon. Yeah. And it was like this shape-shifting kind of action RPG. It looked really cool.
You're still in my thunder for later.
I'm sorry. I mean, they had lots of cool games.
We'll find out more after these messages.
Yeah. Disco Samurai looked cool. So yeah, we'll definitely talk a lot more the next time we record a proper episode.
Yeah.
But for now, we're gonna wrap it up. I love you guys. Stay tuned for, if you're listening to the audio version, all the interviews will be on the podcast feed for patrons, and then the following week, as always, for everybody. And then if you are watching YouTube, this will be part of the PAX East 2024 playlist. Check out the interviews. They're all separated out into their own videos. Subscribe, share, rate, review, all those things. Patreon. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you for your support.
Yes. And we'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.